I think we'll go ahead and start, and where anyone joins, they will join, and we'll of course have a spot to ask questions at the end. So, okay, 1 second. Can everyone hear me? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, hello. Thank you for joining. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Buki. I am the head of operations here at Travelbay, and we are an organization that is helping people travel to Africa in the easiest, most efficient, most effective way we can. So we're looking for ways to, show people the ways that Africa is beautiful, and it's a beautiful place to travel to, the different ways that you can engage with the continent. So to that end, we have we've set up this webinar in collaboration with Leslie Robinson, who is the founder of a community called A Vibe Called Fest. And you'll get to know a bit about her. You'll get to know a bit about Travelbay, and hopefully get to know a bit about Ghana on this journey that we're going on. All right. Everyone can see the screen. Yes? Okay. Oops. 1 second. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my notes. Okay. So like I said, my name is Buki. I'm the head of operations here at Travelbay. I'm just going to take you through our agenda for the webinar tonight. It's going to be pretty quick. We'll probably be done in about 45 minutes. First up, we're going to have Anita, who is my colleague at Travelbay and the head of our marketing team, introduce you to Leslie Robinson and her community, A Vibe Called Fest. Then Leslie's going to go through some of her thoughts before she took her first trip to Ghana. Then she'll share, her experience in Ghana and key takeaways. And then we'll give some detail about her upcoming trip in June to Ghana as well. Then we'll have a live Q&A so everyone can ask questions, and we'll close out with some information about Travelbay and how you can start booking your trip to Ghana. So that's our agenda for tonight. I am going to hand over now to Anita.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Can everybody hear me all right? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Sorry. Okay, so welcome to everyone again. Sorry we're a little behind schedule. We're just trying to get a lot more people to join on. But as Buki said, as they come on, we'll carry on from there. So without further ado, I would love to introduce Leslie. Leslie is an avid traveler, storyteller, and the founder of A Vibe Called Fest. She built this community to inspire cultural exploration and reconnection, and through her travels, she's helped countless people embrace their roots and experience the world in a very meaningful way. Her vlogs and her travel content are very, very personal, and they really go into the detail of visiting a new country for the first time, particularly Black countries. While she hasn't been to Cape Coast Castle yet, she is planning on visiting on her upcoming trip. So last time she was in Ghana, unfortunately she was unable to actually make that tour. But come Juneteenth, with the trip we're having this year, she's going to be doing her best to visit it again. and we're excited to hear her thoughts as she prepares for the experience. Leslie, could you tell us a little bit more about a vibe called Fest and what inspired you to actually create this platform?
So a Vibe Call Fest is basically my passion project. I love festivals, and I'll go to any festival. It could be a rock and roll festival, maybe. But when I'm in a room of people, because I let me preface this by saying the town we live in is 98% white. So then I'm part of the 2% that's all the BIPOC. So it's kind of lonely. So when I get an opportunity to go to a festival that I'm just surrounded by people and our hair and our jewelry and our music, that's truly when I'm in my element. So when I would look for festivals, it would take me forever, and I type in Black festivals, but then it would be like a festival called the Black Flag Festival or something. So I
Mm,
created the page for Black people to find festivals, and I am learning every day. So it's really a fun journey, but that's the backstory of it. My first festival I went to was Essence Festival in New Orleans in 2017, and I've been hooked ever since. So I try to go to like 10 to 12 a year.
10 to 12 festivals a year, and you've been doing that for this is about to be your eighth year. You must have a very, very vast knowledge on these festivals. And yeah, kudos on being the change you wanted to see in the world, because you said, oh, you wanted to go to more Black festivals and you couldn't find a platform that was readily available to let you know where they were. I said, no, you know what? I'm going to become that platform, and you're doing an awesome job. We love your content, and
Yeah.
we're here. Um, Without further ado, thank you for sharing so much about your platform. So I'd like to ask, before you actually made the journey to Ghana, did you have any thoughts? Did you have any expectations? What was your thought process? What was it like for you in your head? And you're like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to see for myself.
So for me, all I know is my family goes back to Tennessee in the States. Well, now my mother knows that she's got Cameroonian blood, but growing up in Indiana, I didn't even know that I was like from Jamaica or anything. So I've always kind of felt, in a way, homeless. I'm a very deeply emotional person. I know that's a heavy word, but you just truly don't know your identity. Like you're from a continent. That's like telling somebody they're only from Europe. So when I would get excited, I always wanted to visit Africa, but I didn't know. Then I'm like, oh, I want to see the Messiah in Kenya. I'm a piano, and I would get overwhelmed. So when I saw Afrofuture, that just helped me know that Ghana would be the right place. And I also like the fact that we any country I visit, the first time I like that most people speak English. So I'd rather even go out the country, like further than Mexico, to have the same language.
Mm.
So both of those things were really exciting, and I've been following Afrofuture for a couple years. I know my mother was nervous, like when I left, she printed me out a safety list of from like the US.gov something something. But I always feel when I feel at home. My very first trip that I experienced that I was in Belize. And I knew if I felt that in Belize, that if I could ever get back to the continent, it didn't really matter which one. Somebody just had to put a dot in the map. So I felt very comfortable. Y'all had set me up with eco tours, so they basically like they were my driver, but then we hung out. So they tell somebody to leave me alone if they tried to sell me something I said I didn't want, like phone. So like not security, but they just helped me get acclimated to the culture immediately versus just getting dropped off at an Uber and wandering around. So I spent I think 8 days in Accra. And I did the tour stuff first, and then after that, I did some of the more local stuff. But it definitely lived up to its expectations. I just knew I was going to have an amazing time. Like that's really all I thought. This is going to be so much fun. It's going to be the best way to ring in the new year. And in that respect, it definitely did its job.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. You know, a lot of times going to a place where you've never been before, it can be a bit scary. So I totally get your mom printing out a list of safety tips for you so that, because she just wants you to come back home in one piece. And, for on our side, while, like you mentioned, we didn't really provide security, we just provided guidance. Like so that you could have the true experience without having that, that entire block of security between you and the actual experience you are going to, have. So that's really great to hear. Um, so can you like walk us through how it was in Ghana? Like, oh, day one arrival, how did this go? Day two, how did you spend your time? How was the Afrofuture Festival? What was your favorite performance? Those things. Like, can you just let us in a little bit more on how it was?
So it was amazing. They said when I was there that you're either African or you're the way it was phrased, you're either of the diaspora or basically from here, or we're all from here, but this is your first time returning. So I felt welcome home. And like I said, my bloodline actually runs through Cameroon, and I'm sure I would get that same vibe, but I felt welcome. My tour guide, he asked me, I think it was what day I was born, and then he gave me my name in Twi, and then I met somebody else that told me my name in Akan. So even though they don't know that I'm Ghanaian, everyone's like, basically I felt like everybody's sister. I traveled solo. So you have to have your wits about you. I wasn't just like holding hands and skipping, but I felt very welcomed, and that was amazing, because I don't always feel that at the place that I call my home, my residence. So it's cool when I get those opportunities and people are like, tell me about you, and they talk, they're excited to teach you about the culture. Very welcoming.
Awesome. One of the main highlights of that was that they gave you a name in Sui and a name in Akan. Do you remember the names?
So Najeli is in Twi, and I got it on a bracelet because I forget, but it's another.
That's fine. Was just checking
Yeah.
on. Okay, so from there, Afrofuture, that was your real calling point. So can you walk us through the festival? How did that go?
So Afrofuture was amazing. Courtesy of Travelbay, I was in the VIP section, so I was right, like the first night I was on the front row. So like everybody goes to festivals differently. Some people just want to be around people. Some people want to drink. Whatever your vibe is, I am a music head. So more, I get social, but more than anything, I'm watching. And I was front row. I did not know. The only person I knew on the lineup was Omalay coming in. But when I got there, coincidentally at the airport, I saw Odile. I think he's a Nigerian artist. Like one of his people, I don't know, had his suitcase, and I saw it said his name on there. So that was a cool surprise. But Afrofuture was really, really fun. 2 nights of great music, good energy. It was on the beach, so there was a nice breeze. And then because it was Daddy December, one of the nights we went out after, I can't remember the name of the club, but it was very much a local. Instead of hanging out at like the parties to hang out with other Americans, I went and like really kicked it in town, and literally the sun came up. I think I got back at like 4:30. So Daddy December was a vibe as well.
Nice. So you said, you mentioned you traveled solo, and then you said you went out. Did you make any new friends?
So yeah, I still talk to Nee, and on a lesser extent, I still talk to Jacques. And then coincidentally, my ex-husband hooked me up with another tour guide, and I talk to Kojo almost daily. So because I was with them, I said it's not like they were security, but instead of me just getting an Uber to go to the club and then standing outside randomly at 4:30, we were at the club together. We just hung out. So it's like a built-in companion. And I talked to the 3 people that I interacted with the most on WhatsApp, as well as one of the drummers, Sounds of Migrants, that had the chakra rays. We were talking a couple days ago. So I built some personal relationships that way. And then at Afrofuture and the PVO New Year's Eve party, I connected like as a creator. I met somebody I'd been, friends with on Instagram in person. And I connected with some other travel creators. So on both sides, I made some really cool connections.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Just one more question about this before we move on to, the summation of your trip. Could you tell us probably your favorite experience, like outside Afrofuture, the favorite new thing you saw, your, most shocking culture shock, just something that was really different for you?
So I feel like the answer is supposed to be when I went to this monument, I saw it that was all great. I am very much I like a very baseline of history, so I know so I can get to my now. So clubbing and like this is a Ghanaian club. They had not a lick of English, and I had the time of my life. That was my favorite part because when you really cut, you always say everybody at their core is the same. But in this situation, people from Ghana, people from around the diaspora, we don't not everybody knows what's being said, and we were all vibing. And literally seeing the sun come up. That was so cool. So I only went out to a non like sponsored party that one night, but that made me know that I want to go back to Ghana and just experience the day-to-day culture instead of something that's geared more towards expat, diasporans coming back.
Okay, sounds cool. So at the end of it all, did visiting change your perspective on what it means to visit African countries, what it means to visit Ghana? How did this help reshape maybe the narratives you already had about this country before you actually got there? So can you just walk us through a little bit of that?
So for me, it did not reshape it because I've always had a pretty positive. I think there are some people that may be surprised by, oh wow, they do have skyscrapers, stuff like that. I've at least had that basic knowledge as an American. So it was more confirming that there's a space for us. Again, any place you travel in the States, Europe, wherever, you need to have your wits about you, but it's a very safe space. And then I'm like, I got to get back to Ghana, but I also got to go to South Africa, and I still got to get. So I'm like, how many countries can I work in? It was a great entry point, or the return that they mentioned, going to Ghana.
Great, great. So that sounds so beautiful. I'm so glad you had an awesome trip. So awesome. We're going again in June. Right now, we can move on to the Q&A session. So if anybody in the audience has anything that they'd like to ask, any clarifications they'd like to make, now's your time to shine. Let's know what you want to hear.
Can we at least get a round of applause for Leslie and her amazing sharing?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leslie.
Okay. I have a question. I was going to ask about did you try any food that you like, that totally changed your mind or that you hadn't thought about before you went to Ghana? Was the food any different, or what did you think about that?
I wonder if this is prompted by that video I posted. So the food was amazing. I love spicy food, but my American spicy is like Ghanaian 1.5. And that's truly why I didn't make it to Cape Coast, because it was a lot of spice, and I have motion sickness. So I was like, I can't be in a car. That was the reason. But there's a video floating around of my first time trying fufu, and I will tell you, I don't know nothing about Jollof wars, but I am not at all a fan of fufu. There was a bunch of stuff I loved. I ate fish out, like usually we chop off the head and the tail. I ate fish out the cheeks of like any stewed fish, and I don't want to mispronounce anything, but like the beans and rice,
Right.
Jollof, all that was great. Fufu is not my thing. And there was we got some food from a street vendor, and the chicken was so spicy I literally had to throw it away. Like, because I got it at nighttime. I was like, there's no way I could sleep. But it was cool. And, I'm not a foodie, but I eat. So I love New Orleans, and I had just in December I was in Charleston, and our jambalaya, or you can see how our jambalaya is jollof repurposed, and in different in Charleston they have something else that they call, but Charleston's the largest slave port of the states. So there's a
Right.
direct connection, and doing both. Actually, I did both of those in December. So like 2 weeks apart, and I was like, oh, that's it's kind of just making those connections, because we're so much more connected than it sometimes seems. So overall, I really enjoyed the food. I tried anything. There was also a lot of
Nice.
spaghetti, which I thought was weird, but everything I loved. But that fufu texture, not my thing.
Fair enough. To be honest, I grew up on the African continent, and fufu is not one of my favorite things either. So I get it.
Well, he said, "Don't now. You don't chew it." I was like, "Wait a minute." So anyway, but everything else was great.
Yeah, I get you. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? Okay. So I think we can move on to this. Anita, you're muted. I'm not sure if you know that.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to get to it. So
Oh, no
hi,
worries.
since no one has any questions, we're just gonna jump right in. Like we've been saying throughout the duration of this call, Leslie is gonna be so gracious, and she's going back to Ghana again this year, and we're going for Juneteenth. The trip is gonna be from sorry, I'm trying to get it zoomed out.
The 14th to the 22nd.
Thank you, because I can't see. It's
No
going to be from the
worries.
14th to the 22nd of June 2025. And yeah, it's going to be an awesome trip. This time, we're even going to be adding Togo to it. We're going to be visiting two countries, and it's going to be a guided tour with Leslie. Like she already said, you're going to feel so safe, you're going to feel so secure, and you're still going to get the full experience of visiting a beautiful country for the first time. Seeing as the trip is still a bit far out, we do have installmental plans available on our website, so you don't actually have to pay. Oh, hi, Temi Tokwe.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for joining. We loved having
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So yeah, like I was saying, we still have installmental payments available. And to anybody that's on this call, we have a special discount available, and the coupon code is already there. If you would like to tap in, you can just go on our Instagram. The link is in our bio. You can go through there, check out the package, see all the tours you're going to be experiencing, and just fill it out, sign up, use the website. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining, and we'd love to see you in June.
Thanks, everyone. I'm just going to put the link also in the chat for anyone who wants to follow up, but we'll have it on Instagram as well, so it'll be accessible that way. Just give me one moment. Okay. There you go. All right. Thank you so much to everybody who joined. Thank you, Leslie, for your time and for indulging us being our the first in our webinar series. We're glad that we got this off the ground. So thank you, everyone. But I think we can close out here. If anybody has any other additional thoughts, please share them.
I just dropped my website in the chat, and anybody that subscribes, you'll get information monthly. I only do a monthly newsletter, so you won't get 700 emails, but it'll keep you up to date on the progress. But definitely tap in with Travelbay. Y'all go what? We have like 30 or 40 countries 20 or 30 that you have a relationship with.
Oh yes, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Ghana's amazing, but there's other places they can get you linked up with that. It's not quite a tour guide because you get to go off the path, but whatever that your concierge maybe, that they could get you linked up. So definitely tap in with both of us. And thanks again for joining.
Thanks, everybody.
So thank you
Bye.
so much, everyone. This has been fun. Bye.
Bye.